Hey class, Tyler Ward here. I'm here to tell you about The Water Will Come. It's written by Jeff Goodell. Um, my chapter is under the climate apartheid. It's about how the rich and the poor are affected when it comes to water crisis. For the poor living in poverty, it'd be more or less that they would have their infrastructures, their roads, um, basically just their place of living um, kind of demolished to a sense. What would happen is uh, water would come. Of course, it's going to have fungus in it, kind of like a dirty little town. It's a town of Lagos. Um, so, therefore, with the fungi in the water, it's going to ruin and demolish buildings, structures, things like that. But for the rich, um, basically, it affects the rich in a sense because it makes the town stink. Of course, when you're rich, you want a nice house, you want a nice little environment to live in, whole nine yards. The American dream, anyway. Um, but the rich are affected more or less because in the town of Lagos, where the rich get their money, is more just from the crude oil. 95% of the rich that live in Lagos actually make their money from the oil. The oil is ruined when the water comes in, and basically what happens then is they're not able to afford their living expenses. They're having to move out, and then what happens after that is the middle class will actually come in to go take those homes. The rich will actually move, out of country or out of, just town, at that matter. It's just more or less that clean water. What it does is it doesn't really affect buildings and structures in a sense. I mean, like, yeah, if you have a enough water, um, then basically what happens is the water stays there long enough. It's gonna mold. It's gonna mildew, but it's not necessarily gonna ruin the structure in a sense as fungi would. Um, Basically, with that being said, uh, with the town being only 5 foot above sea level, of course, it's a little scarce when it comes to the tidal waves and whatnot. When hurricanes move through, it's just so sad. Basically, what happens is that whole town just kind of gets wiped out, demolished. I kind of feel for those people. Um, so um, the yeah, basically, what the chapter summarized was just basically how the poor get affected and how the rich get affected. The poor, of course, like I said, is just the living conditions they live in, and the rich, they are no longer rich because they lose most of their money. Um, so basically, I'm going to talk a little bit about water um, as to kind of what it does. Dirty water, of course, that has fungus in it, is going to be any source of water from any rivers, lakes, dams, or even just the ocean at that sense. Um, Now, clean water like dishwashers, washer and dryers, things like that, uh, like I said, is only going to make mildew. It's not necessarily going to ruin the structure like it would the other bodies of water. It's just the water osmosis that it actually goes through before, you know, it gets out of the washer, out of the dryer, out of the shower, out of the dishwasher. Um, so, with it being clean, already tampered with, going through the water osmosis, it's really nothing to worry about on the clean water side of things. But the dirty water side of things, it'll actually completely just ruin a lot of stuff. Um, you know, just basically goes in the depths of swamps, for example. If you go to a swamp, it's stinky, it's nasty. Um, that's the fungus water, the water that we can actually see that has fungus in it. Um, for the most part, from rivers, dams, oceans, we really can't, see the water. So, with that being said, it's just more or less that water is actually the most dangerous liquid on Earth today. Nobody has ever really found anything that could destroy anything or do anything worse than water that has fungus in it. So I hope you learned something from this. I appreciate you for listening. You guys have a good night.